At night, motivation can feel almost physical. You make the plan, you picture the new routine. Tomorrow, everything changes. And for a moment, it feels true, but then morning arrives. The spark is smaller, the plan is still there, but the motion is not. So, what happened? Maybe the problem is not that you are weak. Maybe motivation is only one force in a larger system. To understand discipline, we need to look at inertia, friction, momentum, energy barriers, and feedback. We look at the world through the lens of math, physics, and algorithms. If that's how your brain works, join the channel by subscribing. Motivation often behaves like a temporary signal. It can start high, especially after a decision, a deadline, a new year, or an inspiring idea. But temporary signals fade. A simple metaphor is exponential decay. M of t equals m0 times e to the negative kt. This does not mean human motivation literally follows this equation. It means the shape is familiar. Fast energy at the beginning, then a natural decline. The feeling that was strong at 11 p.m. may be weaker at 7 a.m. That is why motivation can start motion, but it cannot be the whole engine. Newton's first law says that an object at rest tends to stay at rest. The same idea is useful as a metaphor for behavior. Before a task begins, there is no motion, no rhythm, no evidence, no momentum. A small push may not be enough. A stronger push can move the system, but if the push disappears, the motion can fade again. This is why starting feels disproportionately hard. You are not only choosing an action, you are changing the state of the system. Rest resists change. Even when motivation pushes forward, friction pulls energy out. Friction can be physical: fatigue, poor sleep, noise, a bad workspace. It can be environmental: a phone on the desk, unclear goals, too many tabs open. It can also be emotional: fear, uncertainty, the memory of failing before. So a first model might look like this: action equals motivation minus friction. If motivation is high and friction is low, motion is easy. But when motivation naturally decays, friction starts to dominate. Motivation can start motion. It cannot fight friction forever. Procrastination is often described as laziness, but that is not a very useful model. A better metaphor is an energy landscape. On one side is the familiar valley: avoidance, scrolling, waiting, reorganizing, thinking about the task instead of touching it. On the other side is flow. Between them is a hill, the activation energy of starting. Sometimes motivation gives the ball a push, but not enough to cross the barrier. Discipline changes the landscape. It lowers the effective barrier. A smaller first step, a prepared environment, a repeated ritual, a clear next action. These do not require heroic motivation. They reduce the height of starting. Discipline is not infinite willpower, it is accumulated momentum. In physics, momentum is P equals mv. In this metaphor, mass is consistency, the identity and structure built by repetition. Velocity is repeated action, the small movement that happens again and again. Together, they create habit strength. Each tiny action adds a small impulse. At first, the motion is barely visible, but repeated impulses change the state of the system. The path becomes smoother. Friction matters less. Starting tomorrow becomes easier than starting from zero. Discipline also works because it creates feedback. Action creates progress. Progress creates evidence. Evidence increases confidence. Confidence reduces friction. Reduced friction makes the next action easier. This is a positive feedback loop. There is also a negative loop. Avoidance creates guilt. Guilt increases friction, and friction makes avoidance more likely. This is why discipline should be compassionate and structural, not punishing. The goal is not to hate yourself into motion. The goal is to design a system where motion becomes easier to repeat. So discipline is not about feeling motivated forever. It is about building a system where action can survive the decay of motivation. Action equals motivation minus friction plus momentum. Lower the friction, make the motion repeatable, let feedback do its work. So, motivation starts motion, discipline keeps it moving. Thank you for watching.